Hello, and welcome to Leading Up, where we talk about the most important things for leaders these days. And today we're going to talk about how to motivate others. I get asked that question all the time. In a recent survey of Gallup, 32% of employees are unengaged. 18% of them are actively disengaged. A lot of leaders ask themselves these days, how do I motivate my team? How do I engage them? How do I improve retention? Which is the side effect of less motivated employees. This is an important topic. This is about motivating your team. This is Leading Up. So where is the problem with motivation? Why are so many team members unengaged, not motivated, not being their best? Let's talk about the parts of it that have to do with you. You see, as a leader, a lot of times you get really busy and you are doing a lot of things and maybe managing your own burnout. And if you haven't checked my episode on burnout, you should absolutely check it out for yourself and for your team. But when you are doing a lot of things as a leader and you don't have the energy to be there for your team, to lead their team, what may be going on is that, number one, you may be not present with them. I have literally observed myself, top leaders, multitasking on team meetings that they called for. So when you are not present at the meeting, when you're multitasking, when you're doing other things, or when somebody talks to you and you are on your phone or on the computer at the same time. And you know what? That may be with a team member who is talking to you and you just seem really unavailable, or with your kid that talks to you and you're on your phone, or your spouse or family member, community member, anybody in your life. When you are not fully present with the other person, you basically communicate to them, you know what? You don't matter to me so much, so I'm actually going to do something else at the same time to make my time more valuable. Now, if you communicate to the other person, you don't matter to me so much, what happens as a result is now you don't matter to them so much. So the next time you ask them to do something for you, the next time you expect them to go the extra mile, they're just not going to do it. If you want your team to go the extra mile for you, ask yourself this: do I go the extra mile for that person? If you want them to do things for you, to try hard for you, have you tried hard for them? If you want them to care about you and your goals, do you truly and genuinely care about them? In psychology, we call that mirroring. The energy that you put out there when it comes to that person is what you get back. What this means for you as a leader is that it all starts with you and with being present with your team. The other thing that may be going on, and that would be number 2, is that you may be leading without enough gratitude. When people do amazing things in your team, it's so important for you as the leader to make the time to stop and comment on that and command that. As a leader, think of yourself as someone who walks around with a big flashlight, and what you're looking for is great things that people are doing. The more time and energy you are going to take to command that, to say something good about it, to compliment them, the more of that you are going to see. It's very hard to be motivated as a team member with a leader who is constantly telling you what you do wrong. What really motivates people is when you make the time to tell them what they do right, what you appreciate in them. It doesn't mean that you don't give feedback for the things that they need to work on. It means that you are seeing how wonderful they are, how capable they are, and as a result, they get motivated to do more of that. So here are the 6 most common mistakes that leaders make when it comes to motivating their team. The first one is not defining the goals and the tasks clearly enough. When you are not clear with your team on what exactly they need to do in order to succeed, it's very hard for them to figure out what you want. And they're going to spend a lot of their energy, instead of shining and doing amazing things on trying to figure out what it is that you want. A lot of times as a leader, you may get so busy that you don't even make the time to stop and spell things out, and you assume that they already understand, but they may not understand and they may not be clear. So the most important thing, and that's the first tip that I have for you when it comes to motivating your team, is to get really clear and spell out all of your instructions so that you can help them succeed.
I chose you for a reason. Lead these people. Show me the best numbers this place has ever seen. Last quarter, we saw 4% growth. Double it.
You got it.
Double.
Done.
I'm not kidding.
Neither am I. It's already done.
I'm just kidding. It's going to take some time.
Double.
Seems like a basic reward system where you give us points and then we redeem those points for prizes.
You're exactly right, and you get a point.
Oh,
You do your job better, you get points. So, collect 15 points and redeem them for this polar bear.
What if we went all the way up to 500 points?
That's a crazy amount of points.
But what if?
Well, what do you want?
I don't know. For such a crazy number, I'd like something pretty crazy.
All right, for 500 points, I will wear a dress to work.
That's pretty good. What about for 1,000 points?
I'll run naked through the parking lot with a donut on my ding-dong. Yeah, you like that? All right, for 5,000 points, I will let you tattoo whatever you want on the stern of the old SS Bernard.
All right.
Really?
All right, and you are totally serious.
Swear to God, hope to die. Now let's get to work.
Wait, but you did say we could pool our points, right? In that case, let's get to work.
The second most common mistake when it comes to motivating your team is not to provide feedback. Leaders who are so busy that they neglect to provide feedback to their team demotivate them, because how are you going to get better if you don't know where you need to improve? So building a culture of feedback where you build the trust and in the relationship to the point that you can very safely provide feedback helps your employee shine and helps your team do better and helps you do better as a leader. The third mistake that many leaders make when it comes to motivating their team is making the whole thing about themselves. Once you are in a leadership position, it is not about you anymore. You are there for your team. You are there to build them. You are there to uplift them. And you lead from a mindset of service. How can you help them succeed? How can you help them shine? When they perceive you as someone who is there to help them succeed, they're going to be more motivated, they're going to be more receptive to your feedback, and they're going to do a lot better. The fourth mistake a lot of leaders make when it comes to motivating their team is that they are very quick to blame and accuse. Mistakes happen, and when mistakes happen, when the leader takes a blaming approach, people become really demotivated. So the next time a mistake happens in your team, take a very proactive approach. Decide that you're going to brainstorm together as a team to figure out how you're going to be so amazing that this never happens again. So the next time somebody makes a mistake in your team, avoid blaming, avoid accusing, because they will perceive it as a personal attack. They will get very defensive and very, very demotivated. Always take a proactive approach. The fifth mistake a lot of leaders make when it comes to motivating their team is that they are very quick to focus on the negative. So we have a mind bias, and if you haven't checked out my mind biases episode on how your mind plays tricks on you, you should absolutely check it out. It's so important for leaders. When it comes to your mindset, you tend to be very negative, even if you don't want to. This is just how the mind works. We are always geared towards the negative. We have to train our brain to be more positive. So when it comes to your work with your team, the tendency is to see all the flaws, all the mistakes, all the things that need to be fixed, which is so demotivating for your team. Train your brain to focus on the positive and on the most wonderful things that they are doing so that you see a lot more creativity, a lot more innovation, and a lot more of people going the extra mile. The 6 mistakes that many leaders make when it comes to motivating their team is that they just give up and do the work themselves. And I hear this from leaders all the time. Leaders that I meet at events that I speak at, leaders that I work with say, I gave them this task, they didn't do it, fine, I just did it myself. When you do that, you actually communicate to your team, listen, you're not so capable. I'm so much more capable than you that I'm just going to do the work myself. On the short term, maybe you solve the problem. On the long terms, you've created a really big problem, because why would you be motivated to work with someone who doesn't see the good in you, who doesn't see how capable you are, and that is so much more capable than you that you just feel that you have no value, no contribution? This is very demotivating. These are the most common mistakes to avoid when it comes to motivating your team. I got some great questions when it comes to motivation. And if you have a question about leadership, something that you want to ask me related to motivation of yourself, of your team, or any other topic that is related to leadership, drop a comment below or send me an email. So here's a great question here. Hi, Dr. Michelle. I'm really trying to motivate my team, but the team is very diverse. I got different generations, different cultures. Some of my team members are remote, some are hybrid, some on site. It couldn't be more diverse. How can I identify what motivates each and every one of them? Do I need to diversify my approach, or do I need to take a one-size-fits-all approach and just try to motivate them as a group? When you talk about motivating your team, you talk about building relationships. So motivating the team as a whole is very shallow. What you need to focus on is making the time as a leader to actually lead. Making the time as a leader to build relationships and get to know also the team members that are hybrid, also the team members that are remote. With each and every one of them, you need to have a relationship. You need to get to know them. You need to build trust. And when you do, you will know what motivates them. Just out of building that relationship alone, them knowing that you took the time to build that relationship and that trust with them, that alone is motivating. The younger generations, Gen Z and millennials, they don't want a boss, they want a coach. They want you to show them, lead them by example, how to do this, how to become as successful as you in a leadership position, how to live life. So you have a great moral responsibility there to coach, to teach, and also to lead by example. Start by building relationships with your team, each and every one of them. We got a great question here. Dear Dr. Michelle, I really need your advice on this. Every year, my team gets excited after our annual retreat, comes back energized, and then literally a week or two later, all of that motivation is gone. Why can't they stay motivated? So I talk about this at events all the time, and I also share usually some research that supports it. Just motivation alone is not enough. And just like you said, it's going to last a short while. You get excited, but it's not sustainable over time. So the question is, what creates a lasting change? What creates sustainable change for the team when it comes to the way they do things, when it comes to their energy and their motivation? And for that, I'm very big on actionable motivation, which means that you have to pair an action plan with getting motivated. So when they come back from a retreat that you've invested so much money and time in, they need to come back with a plan for how to do things better going forward. You have to take all that energy of the motivation and pair it with some real changes that are going to happen in the way you do things as a team, and start implementing them right after the retreat with your support, with your guidance. Only action plan and motivation together, actionable motivation, create a lasting change. We have another great question here. Hi, Dr. Michelle. I have a team who is learning to use new technology that we've incorporated into the company. It's not simple, and there are a lot of mistakes happening every day. This is very demoralizing to my team, and I'm not sure what to do. How do I keep them motivated through all of these mistakes? This is where it starts with you as the leader. Your mindset when it comes to mistakes, mess ups, any kind of thing that doesn't work out according to the plan sets the tone for the team. So if when a mistake happens, you get really upset or you react a certain way, or you see it as a big problem, they are going to get really demoralized and demotivated because they're going to invest all of their mental energy on how to not make a mistake. And you can't have an innovative, creative, successful team, adaptable team if all of the energy is channeled towards fear, right? The fear of making a mistake. Make it a safe environment, an environment where it's okay to make mistakes. Make sure to be vulnerable with them. You can share with them sometimes where you made mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. They are getting used to new technology. The more you normalize those mistakes together as a team, you can learn from those mistakes. The safer the environment is for the team to make mistakes and learn, the faster they are going to learn, just because they are going to have the mental budget for learning. It's hard to learn when you're anxious. You don't want them to be anxious about making mistakes. Today, we talked about the very important topic of motivation, and we talked about how to motivate your team. If you haven't checked out my episode on how to motivate yourself, you should totally do that. It has a lot of important information. If you have something that worked for you, a really good strategy, a really good tip when it comes to motivating your team or motivating anyone in your life to do what you want them to do, comment below and share it with all of us. Let's share the knowledge. It's not hard to motivate others, but you need to make the time for it. You need to sit back as a leader and strategize and make sure that you have the mental budget to be there, support your team, create a safe environment, uplift them, and you will see amazing results. So glad you were here today. This was an important episode about how to motivate your team and increase engagement. We can do this. This is Leading Up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell to keep up with all the new videos. Also, click on the link to watch another video.